Good evening and welcome back to Late Night Live, or Lewis's Late Night Live as it seems to be called on the actual Anfield Index schedule, but I'm still too... I don't want to be putting my name in front of it just yet. I'm not quite to that level yet. I'm not quite to the level of my guest tonight, and it is Jack. Everyone knows Jack. He's just done the watch-along for the match, the current FA Cup game between us and Wolves here on Anfield Index. So make sure you click like, subscribe, and go back and watch that. Because I imagine that was a very nice watch to watch, Jack. I mean, how are you feeling after that match?
Just said in the green room, you actually won a game of football, lad. So it's all good. It feels a bit of a rarity watching Liverpool this season, mate. But I think you went to the pub, didn't you, to go there? You said to me earlier on in the week. Did you watch it at home or? I was going to say.
No, my plans fell through last minute, so that's why I'm early tonight, because I watched it at home and then I immediately jumped to the laptop like a giddy school kid because a lot of positivity to talk about.
Yeah, no, made up, mate. We won into the next round anyway. I know you and probably every Liverpool fan. It would be nice to actually win a trophy this season. Obviously, the FA Cup presents Liverpool with the best opportunity this year. And obviously, Tuesday speaks for itself. That's going to be another difficult game, mate. But it was certainly, considering we got battered on Tuesday in the Premier League. Yes, we dominated possession, but we were just so poor, mate. But much better, much needed tonight, mate.
Well, that's been the story of it this season, hasn't it? We've dominated possession, but we've done nothing with it. And that's all well and good, us keeping the ball. But when we're not incisive, we're not aggressive going forward, and not creating enough chances, it's just possession for the sake of possession. And I think that's what's been driving people up the wall this season, is that lack of attack and imagination, which was thoroughly on display by certain individuals, none more so than Rio Inga Moa. I mean, look, we've been waxing lyrical about Inga Moa for weeks and months, saying this lad needs more game time. He's the future of Liverpool, the way he's going. But that felt like, to me, and I mean, I'd love to know what you think, that felt like his big "I'm here" moment. He scored against Newcastle early this season, but that was a proper, like, this is who I am performance.
Yeah, I think Robbo just mentioned in his VT then with TNT a coming of age performance. Obviously still only 17 years old, but I think Robbo alluded to the fact that he was telling them all game that he was demanding a bit more better final ball, final quality as well, mate. But I think tonight, I think even Arne Slot said that. I think in his post match then that it was more final product, and he said we haven't seen that a lot from him. Obviously understandable, not played many minutes, but tonight was better, mate. It was refreshing to see a winger actually get at a fullback, and it's not been many times. It's a bit of a rarity this season, mate. But yeah, long way to go. He's progressing really, really well, and he seems like a sound lad that listens to Robbo and probably all the video clips that we've seen from LFC TV and Everton, mate, all of us, that he looks like a lad that's got his feet on the ground and he's in the right environment to very much Liverpool to bring a young player through. But what was your analysis on his performance, mate?
I thought he was class. I think, like you said, coming of age is the perfect way to describe it. And look, this isn't Michael Owen scoring against Argentina. This isn't Fowler bursting onto the scene, or, this isn't like a huge, oh my God, this was performance of the year level quality, but it was a real sort of, look, he's 17, but you can see the quality. And because it was such a stark contrast to what we've seen this season, which is wingers squaring up to defenders, not trying to beat them, passing it back inside or giving it back to the defenders. This just felt like such a breath of fresh air. And in this match in particular, Inga Moa, 7 progressive carries, 23 carries of the ball, 207.5 meters of total progression. Like, that tells you all you need to know about just how exciting he was as a player during this game. And I suppose it leads into the first real exciting moments of the match, because the first half was pretty drab. But we did have that Inga Moa shot on the left-hand side, did the little step over, left-foot shot, and that's not something we've seen enough of this season for me, mate. Like, I want to see more of that direct nature. What do you reckon of that?
Yeah, obviously, sadly, Luis Diaz did score again tonight for Bayern. He's doing really well for Lucho. But just
20 goals and 16 assists this season.
just a reminder of what we seriously are missing with his quality, mate. But yeah, Cody obviously playing centre forward tonight. Not his favourite position, but yeah, it just opens up from a tactical perspective, mate. And all of us. When you've got wingers that can stretch the play and even come into central pockets and really stretch opposition centre halves or full backs as well, it just adds another dimension. For many years, we've seen, obviously, if you're a generation of red watching John Barnes make mincemeat the modern, well, the old classic defenders. John Barnes just done absolutely tremendous, in he? But Mane for us younger Reds, mate, or any generation of Reds. But yeah, that old school going down the byline, beating a player, which is probably, I don't know, it's gone a bit, it's the last 10, 15, 20 years. Maybe it's gone backwards football, very robotic, I'd say, with the modern day winger now. In terms of just like Jack Grealish style player where the wingers, like, you need to play it in, like,
I don't even think it's been. I don't even think it's been that long. I think it's been like the past 5 years or so. It's really been phased out.
Past 5 years. Yeah, but it's just a bit very robotic, really. Like the modern winger, like just keeping all the possession. Obviously, Ronaldinho, we all used to love him, and obviously John Barnes, Sadio Mane, players that get you off your seat. Salah going down the right hand side, players that make a difference in that attacking third of the pitch for me.
Yeah, and I mean, like this comment says here, from Cottonator83, sup lads, we march on to the next round, see what happened at Rio started. Wolves had no response to his flair. Lad did great. And yeah, that just sums up his performance. There's a video coming out in the next few days, Diaz and Gakpo sort of comparison, and it's about how Diaz made things happen for himself, whereas like Gakpo feels very much like a system-based player. He needs to support and run on the back post. He needs someone else alongside him, but Rio tonight, it's a Wolves team who, let's face it, they're going down, but they were full of confidence. They knew they could cause issues for us, and he was the difference maker. And I truly believe that if Gakpo had started on that left wing today, it would have been very, very similar to what we saw on Tuesday. He was the big difference in that first half where he disrupted the back line, almost got a goal for himself, and we actually hit the post as well at one point. So, for all that we didn't do much with the possession in the first half, there was 1 or 2 chances in that first half. Actually, we managed 11 shots, which is 2 more than we managed in the second half. However, 0 of them were big chances, and I believe only 1 of them was on target. So, having Inga Moa, it's brilliant to begin with, but it does sort of highlight perhaps that there is still other problems in that front line, particularly like you said before, Cody Gakpo through the middle. It's a trialed and tested and failed experiment for me personally.
Yeah, I'm just looking at, I've just favoured a couple of tweets on socials as well, mate. Another wasted 45 minutes. We don't want that on Tuesday night against Galatasaray, because if you do that against Galatasaray at PSG, you will get punished at the elite level of European football and Premier League football, and we found that out many times this season, mate. But this season, Liverpool failed to score before half-time in 23 of their 42 games. That's exactly for me why we are in the position we are this season. But just quickly touching on the winger situation with Liverpool, Arne Slot, his time at Feyenoord and time at Liverpool. He had Diaz last season, he had Diogo, we had obviously Darwin Núñez, even that pace in the attacking third as well. I think that's seriously what Arne Slot system-wise, I don't know how you feel, mate, is obviously, and I know you've done plenty of Red Room podcasts this season as well, with Grizz and the lads of speaking about wingers and needing that pace out wide as well. So for me, yeah, it's just that statistic, like just not scoring enough goals, and you're just setting yourself up for more difficult games ahead of yourselves. But yeah, it just for me, that's one thing. Just analysing the first half, only 1 shot in the penalty box that was on target in 45 minutes isn't good enough for any standard Liverpool side. Need to be doing more, but I think just again another frustrating time where 71% possession for Liverpool in the first 45 minutes. Like, what do you put that down to? Like, what did you think Liverpool was struggling in terms of?
I don't know. I don't know, because It did feel as though we lacked any sort of like central threat. It did feel very much as if, just get it to Inga Moa. But I think it's more so credit to Wolves. Like I was watching the halftime analysis and the way they set up, it was very, 5-2-3. The minute we picked up the ball, Gomez was sprinting back into midfield to cause us issues, prevent us from getting anywhere. Salah was man marked out the first half. And I think we have relied this season on perhaps individual brilliance at points, similar to last season actually with Salah, but like Ekitike, for example, when he's not in the team, you really feel like he's not in the team. When Wirtz isn't there, you lack that creative spark, which in the second half when he came on, immediately through the middle, we look 10 times better. So it is just very much, I just think it's system-based. It's very much get to the defenders, and then switch a play side to side, hope that we can sort of pull them out of position. But Wolves weren't falling for it. And there was a video years ago where Kyle Walker was talking about in Pep's system, two players come close to each other, pass it between them. Eventually you'll draw a player towards you. There were so many occasions in that first half where Jones was doing it with Van Dijk or Gravenberch was doing it with whoever the right back was, and no Wolves players were biting for it. And I think that is a very sort of, people have clocked on now. Slot's comments don't help that if we just sit back, they're not going to break us down.
Yeah, you got not that flair players as well, mate. And you just got to have those difference makers, and especially when just looking to next season as well. We need to evolve past just relying on flow. I think Slot mentioned this week in the presser. Yeah. Oh, we haven't got flow and sound. We haven't got Floody and Wirtz. We haven't got a Salah. We haven't got that like key player up front or Ekitike. We need to find ways of winning games of football, and spot on, mate. It was just next season, and we do turn around a lot of the form. I think first halves are going to be very pivotal in terms of winning games of football.
Look, Klopp had no Van Dijk, Matip, or Gomez. We got Champions League with Nat Phillips and Reece Williams. That's the perfect example of it. So, but you know what? You talk about flair players, and I think the first goal in particular in that second half, because the first half was a wash, let's face it. Yeah. But of all the players you think flair players to score a goal, Andrew Robertson is not one of them. And I think there's so much debate. I know Dave Hendrick is very much against the idea of signing Robbo. He's been very vocal towards me about that. But he does still play a role in this team. And that first goal in particular shows sometimes players just risking it and having a go at goal can open up the match. And Andrew Robertson, I mean, I saw Alex AGT put a tweet up saying that was a John Arne Riise style finish. Yeah, I have to agree. I thought that was a quality finish from Andrew Robertson in that first half. Second half.
Yeah, they obviously he's the most goal. The team that he scored the most goals in his Liverpool career. I think he's got 3 goals against Wolves now.
Actually,
it's the most amount of
mad.
He likes playing Wolves. So that's good for him. But yeah, it's how many times we had the opportunity to shoot this season, mate. Dom's got used to just whacking a load of goals in from free kicks, but we've got that we've got quality, but that's certainly one for the record, for the scrapbook anyway. Come what the end of his career, mate. At the minute, mate, I think the next couple of seasons are going to be very interesting. I personally don't want to be seeing Liverpool lose too many leadership qualities within players that are captains and national sides and big figures. We lost Hender, we lost Milner. Can he still do it? Probably once every week and a half, maybe a 90-minute spell. But if you're bringing him in and against an FA Cup side, against the Premier League opposition, or the next couple of seasons, I'd give him a new contract. But I got drawn into this with Jordan Henderson all those years ago. I was like, oh, we'll give Hendo a 2-year deal, and then his form jumped off a cliff really in terms of just not performing to the highest level. And yeah, Robbo, legend, captain, leader, I love him. And the personality he is, as we all know, mate. But yeah, that strike on goal was very unlike Robbo. How many times in his Liverpool career have we seen that edge of the box or even in the box, as he said in his post-match, weekends, Liverpool fans are expecting it in the back of the rosette anyway. But yeah.
I can't remember many goals of Robbo by that. I only remember particular ones, to be honest. He scored, I remember the Brighton one in the 16-17 season that he scored. or 17-18 actually. I remember like a couple, but I cannot remember another one he scored against Wolves for some reason. But in this match today, 1 goal, 1 assist, which we're going to touch on shortly, 1 big chance created, 4 key passes. He boasted an overall pass success rate of 90%. His crossing was a bit wayward at moments, but he did still contribute. And in a defensive aspect, 2 clearances, 7 recoveries, won 1 of his 2 aerial duels, dribble past 0 times. I understand again that this is Wolves and it's not, he's not up against like a Madueke or someone who's really.
Lou, you can only play who's in front of you. Like
you can.
Like we were playing that Wolves side on Tuesday night, and we were absolutely dying.
Yeah.
Right, so it's all that.
No, you're spot on. And there were a couple of moments, I think I tweeted out something like, look, the way that Robbo's overlap, and I wouldn't mind seeing Kerkez perform up there because I think that's where he's best suited. But Robertson made something of it today, and that leads into the second goal where literally, I think it was the commentator's curse, if you want to call it that. 30 seconds before this goal, they said, Salah's been awful tonight. He's not really doing much with this ball. He's not doing anything. And then suddenly Robertson... It was like we'd rewound about 6-7 years. Robertson in the box, squaring it across the goal, and Mo Salah's tapping it in. And it's very much the story of Salah's season, not just this year, but I think last year even, where he's not doing a great deal in matches, but he can still get a goal. He can still get an assist just like that. And it was really, really well worked.
It's no luck when you actually get Mo in a right position, right? Like how many times this season, even the first half, we mentioned players, Cody, Salah, Rio, they were getting the ball far too deep in our own half. Like Salah's no good 40 yards away from his goal, but when you give him the ball, give him an opportunity and produce a lovely quality delivery that Robbo did, mate. Like feed him and he will score. Obviously, Salah 7 years ago probably could beat a man, but sadly, he can't quite beat a man like he used to anyway. But what he can do is produce still goals and assists, but just getting Mo into the back end of the season, whatever happens at the end of the season, if he stays or departs anyway, but get him there inside the 6-yard box, give him the ball, and just trying to get him that ball. And it's so pivotal for obviously Dominic Szoboszlai, the Frimpongs, and whoever's playing on the right-hand side of that midfield pivot as well, just trying to win that ball back as quickly as you possibly can. But yeah, it was as you said, it was the Liverpool of old. I do see a certain former right-back got not the best of performance again tonight, which is mad. But yeah, Andy Robbo, whatever happens, we love him, mate. And yeah, the Flying Scotsman, he delivered again. So that's all good.
He did. I can't wait. I think if I do my top 10 players on my own channel, I think Robbo is definitely going to be in it. I love Robertson so much. And he was saying after the match, I've got nothing to prove. I've been here 9 years now. The fans, I hope the fans know this. And, it was a professional performance. And I think that just sums him up as a whole. He does have the odd match where things can blow past him, but he can still turn up and put in great performances like this. And touching on Salah, the worries are still there. There were a lot of people calling for him to perhaps go a bit more central in this match, particularly as the game went on. But I don't think we're going to see much of that in this game. 43 touches from him, 1 unsuccessful touch, 0 dribbles and 0 successful dribbles. And that there is why most of the play was going to Inga Moa. There was just a clear difference in how they wanted to play. And I think Salah, he did have some assistance to the Robertson goal. His build up to it led to it going to Jones, going to Robbo. But it just feels as though at the moment he's a bit of a passenger in this team. And is there a way to maybe sort of get any more out of him?
He's a very expensive passenger anyway.
Yeah.
But like, there's not many players in European football, we all know, that can be a passenger in teams, and you can allow the license that. Obviously, Messi in his later years, as we know, lost his yard of the pace, but what he could do, Messi, was unlock a door and find his teammate. Salah last season, everything he was touching was turning to gold, really, and performing really well. I still think as long as we got the players round Salah, and we got the physicality, we got the work rate from around him, and we facilitated the work rate around him, then fine, you can kind of compensate for that. But the one thing he hasn't had this season is the goals and the assists. And that's certainly, as we all know, that we've noticed that if he's not producing, then you're adding for that extra thing that I said there. You want work rate from him as well. But as I said, I think Liverpool just been very wasteful when we have had Salah on the pitch this season. I think Mo won't say it, but we can as fans, I think we've just been playing him in the wrong position. As you said, like, we're not giving him an opportunity to dribble with the ball, mate.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and the games he's on the byline getting double man marked. So it's get him into the better positions as an overall team. But that comes from the full back straight in the width and the midfield players dragging centre halves, and it's all in a collection of an attacking sense for me, mate. But yeah, whatever happens, but I think for the wages he's on, but whatever happens with Mo, we love him to bits, and mate, I think we're all made up him getting that goal tonight. And he's still very pivotal till now the end of May, because if he does raise his game even by 10, 20, 35%, that's still a very good footballer. He's better than the majority of certain wingers in the Premier League anyway, so.
Well, that he can produce those moments that Gakpo can't, for me. And I've said this a billion times on Anfield Index, on Redmet, like a multitude of things where I think that there's Liverpool legends. You've got just trying to think, like Sammy Hippias, your names have gone to Sadio Mane, Fernando Torres, Luis Suarez, Firmino. And then you've got your club icons, your Ian Rush, your Kenny Dalglish, your Steven Gerrard, Alan Hansen, Roger Hunt, things like that. And Salah's gone from there to there. Like, he's ascended into that upper echelon of Liverpool players. But like this comment says here perfectly, Salah's successful dribble percentage, 28.1, Rio, 58.1, more than double. There's just a clear, noticeable decay in the way that Salah wants to play and can play. And we need to call a spade a spade. He is not the same player that he once was, but he can still produce those moments like we saw against Brighton, like we saw in the early stages of this season. But individual moments, you expect them maybe from Salah, you expect them maybe from Ekitike, but how about someone who, there's a lot of divide over who got man of the match. Some people say Robbo, me. Some people say Rio, BBC. Other people online are saying Curtis Jones, because that goal, my God, like, of all the people you expect to have that kind of a finish and that kind of dribble, I don't think Curtis Jones is someone you'd necessarily look at and expect it to come from him. But
would you not say no? You not say
no?
I think he's got that. That's what frustrates me. That's what does me head in. Probably does his own head in anyway. But I mean, he's got that low centre of gravity. I think he's got that in his locker. But the frustrating thing for all of us is we don't see him in those more advanced positions.
I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I think if you can get him in the final third of the pitch, he can create that. We're just so accustomed to playing him right back. What a waste. But that's the injuries we've had this season. Ideally, you don't want to be playing Dominic Szoboszlai right back, do you, as well? So I think Arnie alluded to that. Like, obviously, the injuries of players coming back from injury is a big help for him and a big help for every single one of us anyway. It gives him opportunity. But yeah, it was a lovely goal, mate, coming off that right-hand channel. I think, obviously, at least we didn't see a horrible ball like it was on Tuesday night to Alisson Becker, and obviously Liverpool concede and that, but couldn't have gone any worse. But yeah, I think taking the opportunity, and the main thing for me, as I come into the game before the watch wrong, mate, is he's one of us. Like, he's a massive Liverpool fan. But the main thing is he's a phenomenal footballer on his day as well. But he's us on the football pitch, as was Gerrard, as was Carragher as well. Even though Carragher was a blue, but he was a Liverpool fan eventually. But yeah, he's the vocal player, and even when it is going bad, we know at least he'll be putting the boot in, really, and telling all the lads and himself as well, even if he has a bad performance, mate. But yeah, it was, as you said, it's quite rare that we do see that kind of strike from him, but I do think he's got that technical ability to, even off the left-hand flank, even off the right-hand flank tonight, he's just so good between the little pockets of like midfielders and defensive space, even in the half space. Yeah, I think that's where he thrives for me.
He's criminally underrated, Curtis Jones. And I understand to a lot of people, he's not put. I view Curtis Jones, and this is not an insult to anyone. I think this is actually a great thing. I think he is our new James Milner in the sense of, if you put him at right back, he'll put in a shift. If you put him on the wide positions, he'll put in a shift. Number 10, he'll put in a shift. He's happy wherever, and he will put in a good performance for you, consistency. And I understand Forest in the number 10, it didn't work out. But in this game today, 51 passes attempted, 51 passes completed, 1 key pass, 1 assist, 1 goal. And I think, like you said perfectly there, and I've said this a billion times, he is a fan playing for us. If I went to any Liverpool fan in Anfield and went, right, here's a kit, put it on, get on the pitch and play, they will play exactly like Curtis Jones. I think he's composed when he needs to be. He's aggressive when he needs to be. He can switch the game from defense to attack in the blink of an eye. I understand he's not flashy like Vert. I understand he hasn't got the goal in him that maybe Szoboszlai does from a free kick. I understand that he's not as technically gifted as maybe McAllister was last season, but I think he is a consistent all-round performer. And in this game today, it really showcased why keeping him as an option in this midfield is so integral going forward, not just for on the pitch, but I think off the pitch as well.
Yeah, it's a non-negotiable, mate. I think when it comes to next season and beyond. But the one thing with Curtis is we know he wants to be playing regular first-team football. He's not going to be happy, and I understand. He's, 25, 26 now. He's playing for his local team, but I think every team in the Premier League would snap him up if he was available, 100%. He'd be a first-team regular. Very different to Harvey Elliott. Obviously, Elliott wasn't necessarily one of the first names on the team sheet, but Jones certainly he'd be getting snapped up by a lot of sides outside the top 2-3 teams anyway. But yeah, I think it's instrumental that we keep hold of him, mates. But the main thing with Curtis, mate, as he did show tonight, he's a player for me that does thrive when he plays a lot of games of football.
Mm-hmm.
He's a player that has in his Liverpool career suffered, mainly due to the fact that he's not playing at a consistent level. He's one of those players for me that needs a run of 10, 15, 20 games. And if he was to get that, sadly, we've not quite seen that on a regular, which is understandable when you've got the quality we've had over the last 10 years anyway. But he stayed around, and there's not many Liverpool players. That's a detriment to himself anyway, in a good way, in respect to, many players. He's been able to stay within the core of the group as well and learn from all the other players. And even Flo coming in, he's probably going to be learning, even if he is 25, 26. Jones, obviously, helping Vert, but great players rub off in each other and learn from each other week to week, mate. But hopefully he can stay, mate. But I do think maybe long term, as we know, in the January window was linked to one of the Milan sides. But there'll be a whole host of clubs vying for the signature anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%. He'll thrive at a multitude of clubs, and there's a couple of comments come in which we'll touch on in like a minute or so to round this off, around 30 minutes. But just overall thoughts, we're through to the FA Cup quarterfinals. Whoever we play next, I would very much like to play Wrexham personally. I think that'd be a fun game if they get through, of course. But yeah, we're through to the next round of the FA Cup, a prestigious competition despite the way that people treat it nowadays. But overall, if I'd have said to you going into these two matches, right, you're going to win one, you're going to lose one, which one would you rather be which? I'm curious to know which one you would have agreed would have been the better one to win personally.
Premla, all day, every day of the week. Because bread and butter, really. Well, I know everyone says the Champions League, but we won the Premier League. But I think Champions League qualification is so imperative. We all know that, mate. For revenue, not just for next season, but beyond that as well, in terms of bringing in the caliber of player. But thankfully, we're going to have a lot more opportunities, and there'll be a lot of slip-ups from Chelsea, the Uniteds of this world, the Villas. They fell off a cliff as well. So even if Liverpool do slip up again over the next couple of weeks in the Prem, I do think we will get away with it anyway. But mate, in an ideal world, you win both, but I would have took the game on Tuesday, and I think we all would, mate. But bring on your Wrexham, even though we are playing them in pre-season. And Ryan Reynolds loves the camera anyway, doesn't he? So it'll all be the Wrexham show. But hopefully, if we do get Wrexham, it's at Anfield and not the away ground, because there'll be cameras bloody galore in that game. And it just
Yeah.
only at the end of it.
I just want to see Rob. I prefer Rob McElhenney than
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. I love It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's such a good show. But just to round it off, there's a couple of comments come in. We'll just give a quick thought. Roshi98 says in the second half, Slot finally allowed the players to express themselves as the direct attacking force that they are, and we all saw the results. Wish he'd be courageous and do it more often. Stephen D says, I want Andrew Robertson to stay at Liverpool. I second that opinion personally. And then the same thing by Cottonator. Yeah, Robert should stay. Simicast can stay at Roma. I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. And then same person, Cottonator, second half, Liverpool is what we expect going into every match. Let's forget that first half. And like you said before, Jack, just to round it off, those first halves, we cannot be doing that, particularly against Galatasaray, who, as we saw earlier this season, they punished us for it.
Yeah, and hopefully we don't have the same referee for that dodgy penalty from Dom. That still does my head in. It's never a penalty. Never a penalty.
Oh.
But I think it was a tape on the night or whatever. Whoever we have on Tuesday, hopefully is a sound ref. But at least the Galatasaray fans aren't coming to Anfield the week later anyway. But yeah, mates, hopefully go into them on Tuesday and get a result, mate. And fingers crossed, mate. But we won tonight, and that's the main thing. Confidence breeds confidence, but as Robbo said in his post-match, as we all know, very inconsistent from Liverpool. But if we can strike a bit of form at the right time this season, that will do us the world of good, mate. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And like this season, it's been 2 steps forward, 1 step back. We beat Qarabağ, beat Newcastle, lose to City. We smashed Brighton, smashed Sunderland, have that performance against Forest. But we need to start getting a bit of upward momentum. We need to start moving forward. And this is a step in the right direction. Liverpool through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, smashing Wolverhampton Wanderers in a dominant second half performance. Let us know, though, what you think in the comments down below. And while you're here, make sure to click like and subscribe to Anfield Index. There's some amazing content coming out. If you head over to AnfieldIndex.com, you'll find all the latest news and articles surrounding Liverpool. A lot of transfer talk at the moment regarding Michael Olise, Yandy Amande, so much more stuff going on over there. And if you go to the Substack, it was always Liverpool.com. You can see things like Jan Molby's articles. You can see Eddie's articles. Lots of interesting pieces over there. Jack did the watch along earlier on. I haven't watched the X. I was watching the match, but I'm sure it was very, very happy and fun filled.
It's right. Skip the 45 minutes of the game anyway. You can say that. Half. Yeah, you can say that on most, but there will be a little clip of the year as the post-match clip that goes on socials of the goals. Even when we do get beat, sometimes those go up anyway. But it depends if it's an absolute pasting this season. And no one watched it. Well, the rival fans want to see the highlights of Liverpool getting battered most weeks, but yeah.
I remember I did the Southampton one, and when Ekitike took his shirt off, I remember that clip went a bit, that one went around a little bit. But yes, make sure you go check that out. And also check out Jack's TikTok. He puts amazing stuff up on there, so make sure you head over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Jack, for coming on to Late Night Live. It's been a great night to watch Liverpool beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and we will see you all in the